have any questions along the way, feel free to put them in the chat. I imagine that this will be somewhat free-flowing, but out of respect for everyone else here who voted several sessions ago that hiring a virtual assistant was one of their key objectives to be able to get out of the repetitive things, let's try to cover as much of the material as we can and see if we can do more towards the end, okay? So I want to definitely cover all the questions. I think in the course of what I'm going to share with you, all of your questions should be answered. And there's a particular way I want to show you how we do that. But feel free, if you have the questions, just put it in there. We'll make sure that we address all of it. So I want to teach you from a story, because there's nothing better than real experience. There's a lot of people will talk about how do you generate leads or how do you do whatever. So yesterday, Mark and I, we were in Sioux Falls and we gave the opening keynote, or actually lunch keynote, at the Trend Digital Conference. And you'll see that on my Facebook and my LinkedIn and whatnot, I'm posting things like 1-minute videos about what we've learned. I interviewed the conference organizers. See, look here, Mark, can you guys see this okay? Let me know in the chat. And it says about the rock the house. And you can see there's 400 people here, right? They're all getting ready. This is when we spoke in Austin the day before that. And I even brought Nicholas Kuzmich on stage. He's one of our Facebook ad friends, not a competitor, although a lot of people might think he is. We have lots of these things. Like this was right after speaking.
Here at Social Media Week, and I got the one and only Dennis Yu.
Hey, my buddy Jeff. What's up?
Thank you. Hey, man. If you don't follow this guy, you definitely need to follow him. He's amazing. He's a guru at all the business.
See, now you want other people to say that for you, because if you're boasting about yourself, it just looks bad, right? And we were in New York the day before that. And this is Kevin Lee, who's one of the original people in the world of PPC and SEO. And I said, man, what a legend to be that Kevin Lee would actually come to the session that we're teaching. And I said, he ought to be the one teaching this. So I brought him up on stage in front of everybody. And you can see other people are saying these things. Now, you'll get these sorts of feedbacks too very easily with live events, with webinars, right? Here's another one. You can see that these are some of the things that we teach about. You need a virtual assistant to be able to monitor for these and to be able to then pull that into your engine to be able to drive more leads and respond to people. So let's go look at my LinkedIn, for example. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Let's cheat a little bit and let's go into Mark's LinkedIn. Let's see, I come out here, log out, and then I'm going to log in. By the way, I have so many LinkedIn logins. Look at this. You see how many I have? Some of the most high power people out here, I have their LinkedIn because they trust me to not do anything bad. And our VAs, of course, have access to be able to share things. LinkedIn's ability to share is not as strong as you have with YouTube and Facebook, which are meant for multiple people to be involved in an agency-like way, right? Vendasta, we believe in Vendasta. Let's see here, right? Mark is an engineer and he builds marketing systems. His name is Mark, but he's not a public speaker. So you can see here's a post. When I was asked to speak on stage, he panicked, and this thing got 1,000 people have seen it. Other people, oh, there's George, have clicked like and love and whatnot. And these are the other people who are going to reply back. You're going to see positive mentions, right? The reason you're producing content is to drive inbound leads and collect positive mentions. So here's what George said a day ago. Mark, I'm just a farm boy from Rosetown who learned to surround myself with top talent like you. Holy moly, that's fantastic. So I might comment back and I'll say, George, wow, so honored. May I quote you on that? It's very important to put the winky face. I'm not even kidding, right? And so all these things are being collected, and the VAs, the virtual assistants, are grabbing these items across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever, and they're putting it into this content library. You and I don't have time to do this, except maybe the first time or two, just to see how it works and see what are in these different pieces. And we want to see what the different mentions are. We want to see, testimonials as people are saying good things. Keep links to these. Pull them down and store them on our Google Drive, because I don't necessarily trust that it's all going to be there in YouTube or whatnot, because people could delete their posts or things could die on someone else's website. We always suck it down into our system, right? You can see these different people are saying different things about us. We have lots and lots and lots of these things. And then these are the ingredients that we turn around by having our virtual assistants make derivative copy, make collages, transcribe videos, and turn them into articles. You guys see what I'm saying? So this is the process that you then hire a virtual assistant into. You never just hire a virtual assistant because they have to have something they're interfacing with. There has to be a clear role that you're hiring someone into. So you have to have that underlying process that's repeatable and have the training that they're doing. You don't want to assume that they already know how to do video editing. I mean, they probably do, but you need to make sure they know where do they get the videos from and what are the different templates that you want to have them edit into, or operations. What happens when you have a new lead? What happens when you're setting up a new client? What are the things you do to maybe greet them and show them love, to say thank you or tell them it's their birthday or whatever? And behind every one of these, we have courses, and we happen to put them inside the learning management system. But we also have the here, like what happens at an event. This is what we do before, during, and after event. We have courses on how to build courses, how to boost things for $1 a day. And here is our video editing course. Here it is, literally spell it out. The biggest mistake we see is that people hire VAs and try to make them super VAs, which is do everything. That's just not going to happen. We talked last time about why you can't do that. Secondly, if you do have them specialize, which you should in a particular role, have the exact training on what they need to do. And you might think, I don't have time to create a whole course. Well, then use ours or use someone else's, but don't just hire people on Fiverr or Upwork or onlinejobs.ph and not have these clear examples of how you want to do it. We literally say, this is how we do the login for transcription on Otter. This is where we post different kinds of videos. These are things like how we do bumpers. This is how, like, we've everything spelled out. And if you have not hired any VAs yet, the common response we get is, but I just need one VA. I don't have time to put all this other kind of stuff together. And, this, like, Blitz can do it because they have over 200 people, and I'm just a small agency. We have helped so many entrepreneurs and small business owners get going with just their first one, right? You don't, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Don't think you have to do all of it. I just want to show you a few things. I'm going to show you a bunch of these things, but just pick one item that you want to start with that's a repetitive task in your agency that you would like to not have to ever do again. Let me show you another one. So what we like to do at the end of our presentations is say, hey, we only had 50 minutes to cover all these various things, but if you want the rest of our guide on the 10 ways on how to do whatever, please send an email to operations@blitzmetrics.com. And in fact, we've gone a step further by saying, not only do you need to send an email, but you need to produce a video for that too. So you can see here, please send me the training that this is the Studio Rock one. This is a couple days ago. Let me see if I have another. Sioux Falls, right? Here at Sioux Falls, we said, hey, because we're talking about the importance of 15-second videos. So let's see, Michelle, let's see what she made.
I would add at this point too, this was a little bit of homework from last week. I hope that some people were able to record just a minute video or a 30-second video about the products that you offer or some of the solutions that you're doing. So if you were able to record that and you have the link to it, put it in the chat and we can check it out, or share it in the Conquer Local Slack community. Something that would be nice to look at the group and help each other do that better.
Put it in the chat, and then we'll be able to do some analysis on what they have here. Here's another one. Cindy, I hope this is the correct place to send a video. Oh, so she downloaded. Oh, all right, she attached it. She's supposed to post it. Let's take a look at what she posted. So I don't have time to look at every single one of these because we have hundreds of submissions. Every time we go to an event, we get like 50 to 100. Let's see what she made for her video.
Thompson.
I said any video will do. Just press the red button.
Digital conference. Now, one of the guys showed a picture of his dog, and he told everybody that his dog was overweight. That wasn't very nice, was it? I would never say that about you. I tell him that you're sick.
Hey, she made a video. Now, ideally, we want a selfie one where she points to the camera at her face and says something. But hey, that's okay, right? So look, we have tons and tons of these people that are coming through saying, hey, I want this. So here's one from Austin. This is Jeffrey Hinkson.
Mitch just shared one in the comments too. Mitch says, here's the link on LinkedIn.
Good.
What was it? So hard to watch, but I did it. Well, Mitch, you did it. That's what matters.
We want people just to get going, get past the suck as fast as you can. Because if you can't make, you as an agency owner, if you can't make your 15-second videos, how likely are you going to be able, can you convince a client to do that, right? So let's just see this guy's video. I haven't seen it. Let's just take a look at what he did. Who is this guy? Jeffrey. Okay. Jeff Jenkins, this guy.
Jeff Jenkins. I'm a travel influencer extraordinaire. I help chubby people travel the world.
Okay, he helps chubby people travel. All right, fair enough. And let's see. Here's another one. I'd love to get a copy of the materials. Well, so this is sent to operations where our VAs are going to pick it up. And I'll show you some examples of where you can use VAs to be able to respond. So I'll go back a few days and you'll see what happens here. So let's say, you know, this one. This was a couple weeks ago. Thanks so much. And then here, Mars, who's one of the people that's in the list for operations at Blitzmetrics, says, hey, you have an amazing company website for brand equations, blah, blah, blah. So you can tell this isn't a canned response. And so we teach our VAs, when they respond, you're not an autoresponder. You're not an extension of ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft. You are there, before you respond, look up what they do and say something so specific, there's no way that a robot could have responded, right? And then maybe even Mark and I are going to pop in and we're going to say, hey, wow, it was so awesome meeting you. You know, I was just in Florida too a couple days ago. See? So you have stuff like this. So in this case, when we have an operations VA, they know, here, let's go back to the VA hiring guide. They know what happens when we get new inquiries and new leads. We're generating those leads, then they're able to respond. I know that you can use VAs for outbound, cold calling, that kind of stuff. We find, though, that it's better to share what you know, and these leads come in. Now, a lot of the time, maybe if you don't have a lot of leads coming in, we have hundreds at each of these events, we need them to be screened. Not screened in terms of just qualifying, but we also want them to understand our process. And we want to understand, for us to be able to drive success for them, there's a particular, you know, they've got to be willing to produce videos. If they're not willing to produce videos or get us videos, then we just unfortunately can't do business, even if they are multi-location, they're a big company, this kind of thing. And so you have to be clear about what it is that you want from them, instead of, I'm going to do anything I can to try to sell this client because I want their money, or like that's sort of the hungry, starving agency scarcity mindset, right? We're using VAs to augment our business where it's very soft selling. The VAs are replying and they're saying, hey, here's another one. Actually, that's not the one I want.
I think you got to check out Mitch's. Apparently he got 7 leads off the one from last
really?
week.
All right.
So,
all right. I'm afraid if we go
doing something right.
Look at it, let's look at it. But if we miss the, if we end up not being able to cover the core of the content, we'll have to go to step 3. Okay, let's take a look at what Mitch has real quick. All right. I need some businesses to try new software launch. Okay. It's 500 views. That's pretty good.
Book when it comes to the posting and also the reviews. And I'm just looking for people to try it out and give me their feedback. Completely free, no strings attached. Just want you to try it out. So if you're interested, message me and I'll add you to it. Thanks, guys.
That's great. Now
What's up,
notice
LinkedIn family. So I just launched some new stuff.
he shot that vertically, cell phone style, selfie vertical style, fantastic. You know what would make it even better, Mitch? This is great. Have your captioning at the bottom, because the sound is off by default. And you also want to reply to everybody, and you are. Here, you've replied. And let's see, who clicked like on that? Was that him? Yeah, he did. So I'll click like on that. Right now we're logged in as Mark. He's replied to that. Yeah, be Johnny on the spot. You know, the #1 thing that determines whether a lead turns into a customer is your response time. You want to do it within 15 minutes if you can. And to get more reach off of this, what did you get off of this? 500 views? To get more, add other comments in addition. So here you made the initial post about the software and say, one thing I forgot to mention was the software does this. You're trying to keep it going. Why? Because it lets your it lets your reach relive in the newsfeed, and it'll give you 3 times what you have here. So he had 533. If we go look at what Mark's posting, he's getting 1,000. Not because Mark and Mitch are competing. Oh, we got to be connected with Dale here. Come on, that's important. Oh, you should also have a little personalized message when you do that, but I did it anyway because Dale knows who we are. Right? You want to extend more. So it's fantastic. Now, then the question is, what happens when these people reply saying, hey, I'd like to check out your software. Oh, you got my interest. Please send me your information. So Mitch has a connection request, but remember, Mitch is one guy. So how do we augment Mitch so that we can have like 3 Mitches, so that Mitch isn't having to do every step of the work all by himself, right? Isn't that what we want to do? That's where you have a VA, not replace you, but augment what you're doing. So I would ask Mitch in the comments, let me know, what is your process from this piece? So that's great. You got the 5 leads. What is your process to then warm them up, help them understand what you're doing? Have you pre-recorded a video that says, hey, I'm so excited to show you the software. Let me tell you before we meet, because you also want to show that you're humanly connected and not just an autoresponder. Before we meet, I want to understand who you are. Maybe you could just tell me, you know, what is your, whatever it is, your website or what you're trying to do, right, about yourself. And then let's schedule a time. And here's my Calendly. And now you've onboarded them through a simple form. It still feels warm because you're saying, yeah, before we meet, we want to get our stuff together. So you're not saying, I don't want to meet. I'm just automating you, right? And that's what we're doing here. We have all of these folks that are saying that they want to meet and they want these other pieces from us. So here, I'm the guy who sat next to you in the restaurant. Can you share your stuff? And I'll provide a lightweight touch saying, yes, happy to. But instead of me immediately saying, this is one of the most common mistakes agency owners make because they're so hungry for leads. They say, yes, let's get on the phone right away. That shows you're desperate. You haven't qualified them. Now you've wasted an hour of your time. And only at the end of the hour, which you can't get back, they may or may not be fulfilled or may not be qualified. So I say, yes, I'd love to. Mars, take care of him. And then Mars says, wow, you know, blah, 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 blah. You came to our, so we taught a mastermind in Florida that was called the 7-Figure Agency Mastermind. And this is helping people scale to 7 figures, which means $83,000 a month, which may sound like a lot of money, but it's actually not a lot of money to get to being a 7-figure agency, right? And then here's the other things that we offer. So we're using VAs as an extension of what we're doing. And that means that we have clear processes that are integrated with what we do that tie their role that we hired them in with the particular function they do, so they can repeatedly transcribe, repeatedly edit the videos that come from the content library. Remember, I showed you how we were putting stuff into the content library, showing you how, from an operations standpoint, we're still closing the deals ourselves. Mark and I are still visiting with the clients. We were in New York, 3 days ago?
Yeah,
with Michael Berland, and we were in his office. He's the CEO of Decode M, which is a big agency, helping him build his brand, book launch. We're going to be back in New York in a week and a half with Dr. Oz and doing interviews, all that stuff. So we're still doing the account management. We're still building the client relationship, but we're using the VAs to do the stuff that is actually not stuff that we want to do ourselves. Let me show you another example of that. So our friend Paul Halm, he's got the cauliflower ears, right? So I think he won MMA, you know, the UFC, that whole MMA thing where these guys fight. I think he won UFC number 2 or one of them. I think his nickname's the Killer. Something. This guy is big. You can't tell like how big he is, but he's actually really big. And we've put his brand out. See, now you can see those ears that come from all the fighting. So he was a killer fighter. He opened up a series of gyms, and then he's coaching other gym owners on how they can do their marketing, because he's gone through the whole thing. He understands what it's like to get students in, to teach kids how to do get their black belt. And he carries a lot of authority with other gym owners. And we've put together his topics and the other people that he's associated with and the content associated with it and the why, how, and what, which we will go into more detail in another think tank session. And when gym owners, they see him. So imagine, like, you know, you maybe have a martial arts gym as a client or two, but what's going to carry more authority with with an MMA gym owner? Some guy who actually is a gym owner, like Paul, saying, this is what I do. I still run several gyms and I want to help you too, or some random person, right? So we put together this skinned as him. as the social amplification engine for, remember X, Y, and Z? I help martial arts gym owners worldwide get more leads and find the hidden gym while having more freedom or whatever, right? This is sort of an X, Y, and Z, and it goes through the whole process, showing the 6 phases, showing, you can reskin the stuff that we've created or that Vendasta's already created to make it look like it's Paul, or make it look like it's you, or make it look like whatever it is. And maybe he does a webinar. He does lots of webinars with gym owners. Like, hey, what's the #1 thing that will triple your student base without you needing to hire more instructors or open more locations? Or are you not charging the right price for your different programs? Find out what you need to charge. And how do you get more people who come in for leads where, free karate class, we'll give you the gi for free, or we'll give you a free one-on-one. Like, there's all these different things that people do. And if you want that, put your email address in the box below and I'll give you my guide on how I operate my gym. And they're interested in that. Then when they go a little further, like, oh, well, would you like to set up a time to talk to Paul? Well, instead of just getting on the phone with Paul, we set up this thing here to collect their goals, content, and targeting, right? And then that creates a schedule for Paul, and that's maximizing the power of his time. If we think of us as marketing doctors is not out knocking on doors. The marketing doctor is in the hospital, the emergency room, and patients are coming in, and we're taking x-rays, and they talk to the nurse, and they get their insurance information in, and they get the charts and all that. And then you see the doctor just for a few minutes, or you go to the dentist. Is the dentist collecting your credit card? Is the dentist taking your x-rays and your teeth cleaning? No, all that's being done by nurses and dental assistants, which are your VAs. You guys follow me on the analogy? And then that maximizes the power of your time as a dentist. The most common reaction we get when we explain this model is, I don't have enough clients or leads to be able to run that kind of model. So I need to chase everything that comes down and try to close everything I can and sell them things that aren't really a fit for what they have. But then what you're doing is you're trading, you're basically saying no to the high quality opportunities because you have so many low quality things taking up your time. And that'll prevent you from being able to scale. And you end up with what we call a dog's breakfast, which is any random thing that comes. That's what the dog eats. So when you niche down to your lighthouse, remember we talked about the lighthouse? And was it 2 sessions ago, Devin? When you have that lighthouse, like let's say it's martial arts gyms, let's say it's service or medical in, what was that town in Ontario, right? Wherever it is, that's what we want to be able to niche down to. And is it easier to service 50 health and wellness professionals or 5 random clients that are all over the place in different industries? Way easier to handle 50 of the same thing. Way higher perceived value, way higher ability to execute, way easier to be able to go through your VA hiring that's tuned to these different pieces, okay? So when you have these things in place, clear lighthouse and a package. Thank goodness for Vendasta because they understand packaging. We've been a fan of Vendasta since they started. I knew George and Brennan when they started. Yeah, clear process, clear package, then you can hire people. We call that people process platform, Vendasta platform. You and your team are the people. The process is what connects the people and the platforms, right? A lot of people, they're enamored with the platform, all these different tools and software and automation, or they're enamored with consulting because they do high-end coaching. Some of the people here introduce themselves as coaches, which is fine. And you can do coaching as a boutique business all by yourself with no cost, right? But if you want to scale and be able to get more value on your time and get leverage, then you need to have a process. So you have platform and other people starting to help you get those pieces done, okay? Last time we talked about the process of how we initially start to hire. I'm not going to go through all the details because that's in our previous one, but just enough to catch up everyone else who's new. There's a 6-phase process here, just like our 6-phase social amplification engine. We have to put the job posting out there. We like to hire from the Philippines. There's 1 million digital marketers on onlinejobs.ph. Full disclosure, John Jonas started it. He's a good friend of ours. We've created a lot of training together. So you have your job posting. You can use any of our job postings because we already know what you have to say and not say and what is a role you can actually hire for versus what's asking for too much. We know how much the market wages are, basically $3 an hour. Our buddy Brennan Agronoff hires at $1.88. We think that's just too low, even though he's got 60 virtual assistants that do that. I, pay him $3. Start at $3. Go for higher quality, right? Then run them through a series of trainings that you've created skinned off of what you've done or reskinning what we've done so that they can actually do the very task you want them to do. So if you're trying to hire a video editor, don't you think it makes sense to have them actually edit a video? Here's a sample video, edit it, bring it back. Here's an example of how it has to be done. Here's the training associated with that. If you're gonna hire a juggler from the circus, don't you wanna ask them to juggle? You're not gonna ask them, how many years have you juggled? What kinds of balls do you juggle? What places have you juggled at? No, you wanna see them do it. Because when you have a video editor or designer, they're gonna give you a portfolio. You don't even know whether they did that or not, or how long ago it was, or whether it was part of the team and someone else actually did the shooting and they just did the text captioning, right? You need to see them actually do it. And if they're not willing to do it, they're not serious, right?
Yeah.
Then this is a part that almost everybody misses. And it's not critical for the virtual assistants. It's definitely critical for any US-based team member. Have them fill out their goals sheet. So that's a 3x3, short, medium, long-term times personal, physical, professional, right? And that shows us where they want to go. It tells us why they're doing this. Because they've got 2 kids and they're single mom, right? Because they're trying to pay off their college debt and they want to move into their own house. Because they want to take that vacation to Hawaii they've always wanted to do. Because whatever, and so when you tie what they're doing for you to their goals, they don't see it as them working for you. They don't see it as a paycheck that's coming. They see it as you are actively involved in caring about their goals, right? When Mark started in our program almost 8 years ago, he said what his goals were. And now he's not a VA, or you could think of him as a US VA, but you know, way smarter, way more capable, actually here to, you know, be here with the clients. And he said what those goals were. And if you want to know what that, let's see if I can find that. Let's see if I can find it open. I think I've got so many. Yeah.
Well, you track that down, Dennis. There was a question here. Is there a certain template you can give the VAs to edit the video? I'm not an editor, and that's one of my biggest expenses.
Yeah, we have templates for everything. Like, we don't do anything that doesn't have a template. And we've learned that the hard way, right? So remember, there's what we are doing with the client, which is interfacing, collecting the strategy. It's the waiter, right? Mark and I, we're waiters. We happen to be engineers too, which is something you don't have to be, because we are building software, integrating with Vendasta and all these other places. We're systems engineers, but we understand that there's 2 components in 2 levels in being able to execute. One is what the VAs are doing. So from the standpoint of the VA, which is the cook in the kitchen, we'll use that analogy, here's what they have to do. But from the standpoint of us interfacing with the client, we've got to get certain videos in a certain way. And we want to show from the client standpoint, here's what we need to do. We need to collect that video. For example, why videos? When I believe that, and I started where I am, right? We need to be able to collect or show them, here's the framework and here's how it breaks out. To be able to collect a powerful why story, that mission statement, because they don't know how to do it. How to evoke different kinds of emotion. Examples of how that's being done. Tips on.
The chart was interesting there. Can you go back to that?
Yeah.
This is the spectrum of emotions?
Spectrum. Yeah, we don't like to use the word spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, why is that not working? Oh, you know what it is? Because I've got to open it another thing. But if I could play this one properly, I'll look for it later. You would see that every story is designed to evoke a particular emotion. And if you don't know what that emotion is, then you're just making random stories, right? Is it fear? Is it frustration? Is it success? What is it that causes people to want to buy? It's a carrot or stick issue, right? They buy only because they feel inadequate and overwhelmed, or they don't know what to do, or they're in pain or frustrated, or they buy because they want to get more, because it's their ego. They want to, feel proud because their parents, were never loved them or whatever it might be.
We should use Lace to get neurofeedback on the ads. That would be
lots of ways to do it. You got to know what the emotional story is, and just ways here, tips on how you film. Remember, what I'm showing you as opposed to the VA side is what the us as waiters basically are doing, right? There's waiters that are talking to the customer. We collect their order, we talk to them, we screen them, and then we take the order and give it to the folks in the kitchen, the cooks, to be able to do that, right? And we have all the different pieces related to that. We link back to the courses and how we edit. And we show, if you want to do some quick editing yourself, you can. You don't have to run to a VA. You can use things like Apple Clips. Some people like to use other sorts of tools, right? And look, simple tips, benchmarks on how the videos are working, common mistakes, layering boosted posts to $1 a day, Facebook Mobile Studio. Look, here's 19 types of 1-minute videos based on why, how, and what, which are the 3 stages in the funnel. Here's great examples. Here's how you interview somebody, selfie style, right? Here's how you got to have these examples. If you don't have these examples, the VAs can't edit.
Thank you, my man, for letting me speak at Catalyst.
Thank you for coming out, bro.
The amount of quality people here that are living lives of their dream because of this guy.
So Caleb asks this guy,
Out here.
he asks these guys all these questions. How do you know what questions to ask? We have a list of that, right? So this guy, Matthew Jang, Mark was with me when we did this.
Yeah, I was there.
We were in Orlando. We were at this mansion. What was it, like 30,000 square feet?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Some stupid mansion. And this guy started a community with 40,000 digital entrepreneurs that are running the laptop lifestyle. He also is in an MLM, but that's a whole nother thing. And saying, what do you need to know to be able to be successful? What are the things that people fail on? And so Caleb is asking these questions, and it has nothing to do with Caleb, but Caleb is interviewing him. And look at how this is being collected. It's a singular interview that we then chop into pieces.
I spent all of it, of course, right? Just as I always did, I spent all of it. So it gets to the end of the year, and I'm like, oh, taxes, that's a thing now. And I pay for that. I literally have to make.
See, so we're capturing that video raw. We are getting to the content library. The video VAs see that. They go through the editing. They then run it through the 6-phase social amplification engine so that we then know how to stack it into the 3x3, post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, be able to then cross-post it, run ads against it, figure out what the greatest hits are. And now we're driving leads and sales for us as well as for our clients. Do this for yourself, teach from your direct example, and then when you hire the VAs, we're almost done. Then everything that you do that's working well, oh, here we have the what we call the guide version. This is the book version. People like me like to read books. Other people, they like to, like this, where we're together, right? Where there's a presentation and then we're kind of talking through it. So let me show you one last thing. Then maybe take a couple questions. So I'm logged into onlinejobs.ph. We've got lots of these messages. Why? Because we have something like 6 or 7, well, 6 areas that we hire for. And you'll see that these people are applying. This guy says, oh, graphics designer. Here it is. Is it still available? Okay, we can look at him. Let's see what he's got to say. He wants $1,000 a month, which is $571 an hour. If he's really good, maybe. But also, I can tell you, oh, IQ is 8. That means he didn't take the thing carefully. His laptop is shaking. And I can tell he's DQ'd. You know why? Because he didn't use the keyword. In fact, all these people here are DQ'd. Let's see. Oh, this person used the keyword rabbit. And as we talked about last time, remember, they're using the keyword. We know what stage they're at, right? Rabbit. They're the first round of a general VA, which is an operations VA. Or if they are a video VA, then they have to use Hedgehog. Why? Because in the job description, this whole thing saying you got to take this course and make a 1-minute video and do these other things, we bury it in the middle saying use the word Hedgehog in your subject line so we know you're paying attention. Because if you don't, you're DQ'd. That's the easiest way to determine whether people are paying attention or not. Now, this guy used the word rabbit. Okay, that's cool. He wants $600 a month, which is fine. Don't even worry about that part. He used the keyword rabbit. I read your posting. Here's the things that I can do and other sorts of stuff, right? And then our team is replying back. We have VAs that are replying back to VAs because we have a whole system where they can level up. Look, they start out at $2 or $3 an hour, and then they move up $4 an hour, $5 an hour, right? Oh, sorry, $6 an hour.
See, I like how this chart literally shows them getting older.
Until you're old, and now I'm a manager.
Level 9 is a graveyard.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you could have that TPS report covered to me, yeah. So they start at $3 to do one role, and as they learn 2 roles, now they've specialized, right? They've learned how to communicate within a team instead of just doing one thing. Then they can work within a team and project manage and start training up other people. If you're level 3, you can start managing and training level 1s, and then level 4, you can manage and train up a level 1 or 2. Anyone who's 2 or more levels below you. And this won't matter until you have 6 or 7 or more. Once you have 6 or 7 virtual assistants, you're not going to be able to manage them all directly. You know what I mean? That's just going to be a little crazy. And if you get to 20 virtual assistants, you're going to need 3 managers. Span of control is typically 7. 7 is the number of people one person can manage before things get out of control, right? Trying to manage 20 people, it's like having 20 girlfriends. It's just not going to work, right? Actually, you should only have 1 girlfriend. But you can see as people go up, they learn how to manage other things and start to create training and start to do other things. And you'll see that our training, as you see here, is all driven by the VAs that are helping other VAs, and as they do something repeatedly, they're creating the training. The system builds itself. The more people that are in it, the more training that's coming through. Do you think I'm the one who's creating all this training? I don't have time to sit here and do all this stuff. Every document you see here was created by the VAs. This is the presentation that Mark and I gave yesterday as our keynote. Look, it's Skin for Trend Digital. It's got Mark here looking like he's wistful, thinking about something important, right? And our presentations go on and on where we're teaching these same concepts, but they're skinned. So I hope you see that this is how you integrate hiring VAs as part of your process. I'd love to hear, we have to take off now? We're driving? You want to drive and do this?
In a couple minutes.
Okay. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Let's look at that. I don't see any comments here. Yeah, let's do some Q&A. Okay. What should you pay? Yeah, Joe, you start at $2 or $3 an hour. How many hours I'm looking at? Full-time. VAs you hire full-time. You do not hire them through someone else. You hire them directly, and you hire them for one role. If you need graphics design and someone to do operations and someone else to do video, those are 3 separate roles. Do not make the mistake of trying to hire a super VA. That is the most common mistake we see being done. That'll cause them to be overwhelmed and they leave you. Okay. Other questions here? Brefton says, get the presentation. Yeah, you'll see that that's all posted in the Slack group.
Well, we get some other questions coming in. I think, this topic comes back to, if we zoom out to the original topic we were talking about, which was lead generation. I mean, it's where it began. It was, okay, well, video work is now paramount. We need to have that happen in a scalable way. So how do we even edit in a scalable way? And it's kind of why Dennis recommends having video as the first hire, whether you do that with VAs or internally or through some other service. Trying to do that scalably was step 1. For people who weren't here in past weeks, lead generation, the answer by and large, especially in Dennis's world, has been video. So that's just a bit maybe more color on that.
And let me show you guys one other thing here. You see what's going on here? Can you see what's going on my phone? This is Amazon. I have 4 places that I've got this video backed up to. And if I go to my Photos app on this iPhone, you can see there's lots and lots of these videos. Here's one from yesterday that I took on stage myself. You see that?
And they don't have to be videos about the goal in mind, like selling more clothes or selling courses. They can be, just
that's Mark speaking on stage. And here, let me make it a little bit brighter so you can see. That's Mark speaking on stage in front of 400 people. That's me taking that video. So I would say blah, blah, blah. Then Mark comes on and talks. And while he's talking, I'm collecting this video from stage. Where do you think that goes? Over here. For all these moments. All these behind the scenes moments. You know what drives the most sales, drives the most leads for you guys if you're an agency owner? It's having these behind the scenes moments that you can literally turn around and post here on LinkedIn and post on your Facebook. Here, I'll show you another one. And this is where VAs and your process come beautifully together, okay? Look, this is Mark as a person, but if we go to Mark Wagner as a page, you're going to see that we're posting lots of videos and lots of stories, and we're sharing knowledge. And it's not selling, saying, contact me for a free demo. You can do that, maybe 1 out of every 10 posts. But we're taking some of these moments where he's sharing good knowledge. Here, this guy in terms of Minnesota, this guy's important, Adam Prohl, right? Right, he's asking Adam a question, and we could boost that. Here's Mark again, right? And we're boosting that to all the people that have been to our site before, or who are going to Social Media Marketing World, because we're speaking there on Monday, right? Isn't that great? This wasn't even edited. We've not even run this through the edit queue yet. Imagine how nice this is going to look when it runs through the edit queue. Here's another one from stage, right? The thank you from the organizers, right?
Hi, Dennis. Thank you so much for being a keynote speaker.
All these little moments behind the scenes. Look at this. And some of these we're boosting, some we're not boosting. This is one. Of course, you want to show these authentic behind the scenes moments. Oh, I gave a keynote speech. I was kind of scared, right? Everyone can identify with that. And then we're boosting it so other people can see it. Oh, Tiffany says, you did a great job today. That is so awesome. You will rock it. Awesome, right? Here we are speaking at this other thing. So we're sharing lots and lots of little pieces. And we're sharing knowledge. We're sharing, here's a tip on how you can do something right. Here's a tip on how you work with a client. Here is how you work with whoever, right? Here's another one on just random things like dating.
I'm only 27. Tell me, what is your words of wisdom for relationship advice for a man in my shoes? Oh my goodness. So relationships are an interesting topic, but
so this guy's written some books on, how do you manage relationships and things like that, right? So
I will 100% echo that anything authentic is what performs the best. And I think just with a couple minutes left here, I do see some questions popping up in the chat, mainly about taking this to the next level of like, how are we boosting and what is the strategy about pumping out content and building followers? I think that makes a great transition perhaps for next week, if we can, look at the content itself and the strategy of how we're putting it out and how the plumbing is all set up and everything like that. So maybe we'll transition for the next session on that topic. But quickly before we go, I did want to go around the horn and just ask people what they found valuable about this week, or topics that you would want to dive deeper into in future sessions. So if you don't mind, just maybe a quick 1 or 2 lines about what you liked, or what you got out of it, and then what you might want to see a little bit more of. So Michael, Market Pie, you're first on my screen here. And you're muted again. Oh no, man. Wait.
Hey, why are you always picking on me to go first?
I
would say that the biggest one is just knowing that I can't overwhelm my VA. I have one VA currently, and I really know I got to make sure I don't overload her with stuff. And then the second one is just really keeps hitting me how fast I got to get niche down. Yeah, it's just, but yeah, all my other questions would be for next week.
Okay.
So thank you very much for sharing. I got a ton. I just processing.
Thanks a lot. Lee, I think I saw your mic unmute for a second. Oh, then it got muted.
Hear me okay?
Yep,
it's actually Jerry. Lee stepped out for just a moment, but I wanted to basically make a comment and then and so forth. But number one, I have 8 years of pretty interesting command experience in the United States Army, and what was just discussed was exactly what was trained with us. You can't have more than 7 people reporting, exactly the metrics. Plus my father ran a large trucking company his entire life, and it was the same thing. You can make money with 1 truck, you can't make money with 2 until you get to 7, and where you can step off and manage it, right? And so it was the same exact metric, so that was really interesting. Secondly was we last night, this is what's so interesting about the timing here. Last night we just spent about 2.5 hours taking a video, putting a wrapper on it from a client of ours that made a quickie just exactly like this, a chiropractor, and it worked out perfect. But we had been discussing virtual assistants. It's so weird that everything has come together at this exact same time, but this was all fantastic. And so I just wanted to basically chime in with that, but also to try to understand now there's a platform, a video package that Mr. Yu produces, and then he's teaching us to virtual assistant for this. Is that am I gathering this correctly?
Yeah.
Blitz is a video production
You'll see it in the marketplace too. So we provide all the training so you can do it yourself, or you can hire other people to do it, and it'll be in the marketplace as well. We don't really care which way you go. We just want to see you use it to grow your agency. And plus, there's things that you're not going to buy in the marketplace because they're internal operations and it's an ongoing kind of thing, right? You just need to have those as your people.
Absolutely. Fantastic, though. I just want to say we're very, very valuable information here today. So.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. And yeah, the point of these think tanks is definitely education, community, and figuring out kind of what the next steps are afterwards. So
thank you.
Appreciate it. Breffney, what's any comments you wanted to sign off on?
Yeah, only I guess I got out of it the lead generation is should be using a sniper as opposed to a scattershot view, and you try and categorize as opposed to go everywhere.
Hey, Devin, you're muted. Muted.
Oh no, I made my own mistake. No, that's fine. I was just saying that we actually, on the niche piece, we just made a blog post about the Lighthouse client strategy that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So that'll be shared with everybody. And you're right, Breffney, that the niching, the laser focus is extremely important. All right, who else? Ryan, are you still with us? Come in, Ryan. Check, check. Maybe he's on a call. Joe, is there anything you wanted to add? Some people might be on call.
I'm always get great content. I'm really interested in the space of hiring a video VA. I have a lot of video content, but editing has been my issue. So really structure, because I'm very picky with things. So just structuring that and now understand growing that process of growing the VA. So that was very valuable. So thank you for that.
Perfect. Thank you. Lee, Mitchell, Ryan, anybody who's around, feel free to hop in. Mitch, you unmiked first.
Yeah, I would say definitely the value of just the hiring process of a virtual assistant for the video, because video is so like, yeah, I can get out my phone and take a video, but I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do any of the other stuff. So it's nice to have the process that Dennis showed us of this is exactly how you do it, a little less intimidating. So thank you, Dennis, as always.
Darlene, I see you're still on the line. Come in, Darlene. Maybe, maybe not.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
I find it very interesting because I come from the old school where we build the team internally, especially since we've had a couple of businesses, and we have really been exploring VA work and been testing and trialing VA work to support our internal team. And so it's kind of interesting how well you guys presented the map in terms of how you onboard them, how you educate them, how you reward them with opportunities for them to grow. So kind of a fascinating discussion that I'll take back to my partner. That's really, really good content.
Thanks a lot. Would expect nothing less from Mr. Yu here, as always.